Hello. I want to take a minute to talk about an enhancement to a feature we added a number of years ago, and made it, I think, a little bit better and giving the users more control over backflushing of bill of material and backflushing of additional costs. A few years ago, we added the ability to control whether you backflush the bill of material on an end item. So I'm in component entry and I've got an end item pulled up, and in these in the subcomponent area where you define what formula is used to make that formula, that finished good, and then you talk about what the packaging is to make that finished good. A couple of versions ago, we added this do not backflush box. Basically, backflushing says that when I create a finished good, go and look at the appropriate quantity that I should have used of this packaging to make that finished good based on my complete now quantities. And we can control this as to whether you backflush this line item or not. That's been around for a while. What we did in this release is gave you the ability to override that over in batch entry. So specifically over here in batch entry, I've already got a batch pulled up, and I've got inventory items sitting out here. Let me get rid of these quantities. I've got bill of material items sitting out here that are backflushing. So an example of that is when I go to complete now, and I basically got a one-to-one relationship between an end item and these two packaging items. I've got backflushing turned on right now for this component for this item. If I tell the system that I'm completing 202 of these finished goods, it's automatically assuming and setting up an issue now for that packaging. Been that way forever. What the enhancement is if I've got backflushing turned on, I can actually turn backflushing off on a line item by line item basis. And so in this case, let me set back to 0 and tell it that I'm going to be making 203. And when I do that, it only backflushes this one line item, allowing this to stay at 0 for me to record whatever I need to do. There are a number of different use cases that this is helpful with, but just know that when you get into situations like substituting bill of material items and you put both items on the bill of material and only one of them you're really going to use, this would allow you to toggle between using different types of caps or different types of containers, things like that, and your default would be backflushing, but for this batch you can flip it and make that change. So it's subtle for some companies, but it's really important for others. Now we did the exact same thing over in additional costs. So we've got the same idea going on here under my, well, I'll just go, oh, yeah, there we go, under additional costs, and specifically under the end item. We'll just stay on that same end item. So we've got the do not backflush model as well. So as I'm starting to consume items or make products, these additional costs is tied to end items, the system is automatically backflushing based on this. But I can turn that off by marking do not backflush on the item. So it gives you that ability to really control backflushing a little bit tighter, more granular down at the batch level. Now I do want to point out that if you have quantities already in the issue now, this do not backflush becomes read-only. So if you need to get to it, like you've been seeing me do, I can actually set that that issue now to 0. This is really the key that I want. Just put that back. This is the key here. Now, when this is 0, I'm now able to mark that backflush or do not backflush a box. Otherwise, when I try to click on it, I cannot change it. When that issue now goes to 0, this do not backflush becomes available, and it would be driven off of, in this case, off the end items being produced. If you're backflushing, it would put it in this case it wouldn't, and it just leave them as 0. Anyway, just giving a little more ability to kind of dial in your procedures or dial in your operating procedures on how you enter data. Let us know what we can do to help, and we're happy to consider adding things into the application. Thanks a lot and have a great day.